virus show. It's a poison. That doesn't help the stress level. No, don't do it. Get a grip. This stupid video I just showed you. I almost stroked out and died over it. You're watching a different show. It's donkey. You ain't a captain of nothing but a sinking ship. Don't do this to me, Harry. The Ohio State. It's Ohio State. What do you mean, the? 312-988-15.
Hello?
You tell Johnny all you've heard and seen. Sometimes it's good to just yell about football. That's right. That's right. Welcome in. Welcome back, folks. Let's try and have a good Friday, shall we? Let's try. There's just been a lot of stress going around in Notre Dame land. A little bit of summertime anxiety. Let's try and have a good Friday, shall we? So we got a lot of things to talk about today. I got an interesting angle here. I wanted to shift us a little bit. Listen, the recruiting thing's always in play. We'll talk about Joey O'Brien, whatever else. It's always in play. You got visitors. It's Friday the 13th, Freaky Friday the 13th, whatever. We're going to go over all that. But I got something I thought about yesterday with Marcus Freeman and where he's at in his career arc at Notre Dame and a few different things that I think he could do to kind of help get from where he's at right now, which is pretty high up there in the sport, over the top into what I call title tier. How much time you got, buddy? How much time you got? So I want to go over some of that. Look at this. This caller on hold. January 9th was the last time that we got a call from this number. So we're going to pop that up early and then and see what we got cooking. It's been a while. It has been a while. So I want to hear this caller, 202. I'm talking about you. So I want to go over, cornrows. It would be side cornrows only because I have no hair in the top. I'll come right to you early. I want to get you on. I got cornrows. What are you talking about? I got a bowl in the top. They would just be coming off the side like an Amish guy with a problem. You know what I'm saying? Like an Amish guy with a genetic disorder or something. What are you talking about? Anyways, I want to go over a few of these items to get Marcus Freeman to the next level here. Elite status level. I got some stuff on Joey O'Brien. And then here's the first thing I'm putting out there. You're wondering what John's going to yell about and how long it's going to take or whatever. StreamYard went down yesterday, and it's been acting goofy ever since it came back. I don't know what happened. I was recording a video for Patreon, and it like stopped working, and I Google it, and there's a worldwide cloud outage. I don't even know what that means. StreamYard was messed up till late last night. It came back, but I'm noticing some things are acting glitchy and a little goofy. If you're noticing the stream is messed up, just let me know, and I'll have a mental breakdown, and then you'll laugh, and then we'll all move along, okay? So just let me know. Put it in the chat if I'm having an issue. I don't know what happened. It was some cloud. I don't know what clouds have to do with StreamYard. I don't know. Okay, so I'm just glad to hear it isn't me. There's something going on with StreamYard. Somebody let me know what's going on. So let's get through the introduction. I'm going to bring up this caller. It's been January 9th, and it's one that always is fun whenever we get a chance to connect. So let's do that. Any of your chats, talk about the recruiting, call about the recruiting, whatever you guys want to talk about. Jay Lehman, the nicest guy on the internet, let's just say a major cloud computing provider who will not be named had an outage. That's where most applications are hosted. Okay. So that means StreamYard. I don't understand. Whatever. I don't get it. It's all in a cloud. It's just, what is God up there making the internet work? What do you mean in a cloud? Anyways, whatever. Let's not talk about my technical difficulties. As always, You can find the program on YouTube. Do it. Subscribe if you haven't yet. Appreciate it very much. Give the video a thumbs up. That helps Yanni Boy out as well. Craig, I miss you, brother. I want to get South Bend and just have a cold beer with my man, Craig. I miss you. On my list of people to call, check in with. I've been slacking on that. My bad, Craig. I miss you, buddy. Twitter, search bar Always Irish or at Always Irish 8. Emails alwaysirishnd@gmail.com. Audio only. Anywhere you want it, you can get it. You don't want to start your day looking at my face. Nobody blames you for that. You can go to audio only, and you don't have to see my face. You can just listen to the words coming out of my head. If they make any sense anymore, I think I'm losing my mind in the summer. I'm losing grip on my... Too far away from spring to still care, not close enough to Miami to get everybody engaged in tough time of year. We're fighting through it together. Eric, what's going on at the college huddle? I got that son of a buck coming up, Eric. I'm working on something. I got that coming for you. I didn't forget. Notre Dame Fighting Irish brought to you by SI. Read all about it. Patreon.com/Always Irish. He the former captain. He the lady techner. Mike Koolsman, myself breaking it all down. Promo code RAW. Get yourself a discount. Go check it out if you're not there yet. Adam Dowling, John, it's not summer till next week. I was yelling about it. I was yelling about it the other day. What do you mean? Almost 4th of July, summer starts? Summer starts winding down after 4th of July. I don't understand this schedule. I don't understand this schedule. All right. First things first. My main man, Martinez, $10 holler. Thank you. My Irish brother, Johnny. Blessed Friday to you. We made it to the weekend. God bless Notre Dame. God bless Chet. God bless America. Look at that. What a message. Put it on a t-shirt. Put it on a t-shirt. 202, we're talking to you. What's going on?
Johnny, sup? It's your girl, 1ND gal. I know it's been a long time. Thanks for having me back. All going good with you?
It is. It's good to hear your voice. January 9th was the last call, and everybody appreciates it when you call in. You have a unique perspective. I'm doing very well. I admit we're in no man's land. We're in the middle of the summer. You got recruiting news, but we're just quite not over the hump to get everybody cranked up for Miami yet. And it's just an odd place to exist for a couple months. But it's going well, and I love my crew here.
As do I. All right. So I figure June 13th, Friday the 13th, woo-woo. Good time to come to you with a bit of a grievance. So before I get to that, quickly, football related, very pleased that the House settlement leaves cushion for walk-ons. And we know that Marcus is going to continue inviting on walk-ons, and that's part of the DNA and the fabric of Notre Dame football, and I'm sure we're all very happy about it. However, the thing that I don't get why people aren't speaking on enough is that, okay, the House settlement, for the first time, lets schools pay directly, which in this day and age is basically a mandate. You have to pay directly, yeah? And there's a cap, and it must be spread across the entire athletic department. Okay, great. But people who are crowing about the fact that now NIL and payments are fixed and the wild, wild west is over are grossly incorrect, because there is nothing in the House settlement, nor anything any governing body has done to restrict or limit or even talk about private money. So all that's happened here is that prices have doubled. And it's still, so why are people acting as though things are fixed? It's not. Okay? So let's just, there, I got that off my chest.
I like that. And see, here's my thought on this. And I never understood this either. Remember when like NIL started taking off and it started getting a little wacky on us, and it was getting a little wild. And then people would be on Twitter or whatever, like, you know what we need? We need the governing body organization to come up with like a cap limit on NIL or contracts, so everything's crystal clear and everybody sees above board what's going on. This will solve the issues, whatever. I never understood that, because whatever the legal line is, if people want to go beyond it, they're just going to go beyond it the old school way. Like the bag under granny's porch full of money. Like there's always, no matter what guidelines you put in, if somebody wants to go beyond them, they're going to find a way. Like, so I never understood, if you just put a cap on it of $500,000 a year, then that'll solve the problem. And then the other 250 comes under grandma's porch the old school way. It's been done for the last 40 years. So like, there's always going to be an angle. And I am still unclear on how this money gets divided up. How do you divide up the money between the programs, and what money goes to the women's programs versus the football operation that brings in more money? Like, how do you figure that out? I'm still unclear on that. Is it proportioned? How do you divide out the money?
I have not read the settlement cover to cover. I have another job, a couple of them. So my guess is it's at the school's individual discretion, except every single scholarship player on every supported, any scholarship endowed team is going to have to get something.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just,
I think it's full discretion.
Yeah. And that's interesting to me. And I just wonder how that's all going to play out. And it, like, you could do the whole, like, well, if football is bringing in the most money, it makes sense to allocate more money there or whatever. Like, I don't know if that is okay or frowned upon. And I don't know how this is all going to go, but you got to count on Notre Dame to have a plan for it and figure it out and be organized. And Mike Martin, that's a big part of his new job, is figuring out all the finances of all this. So I don't know if there's going to be a period of adjustment to figure all these details out. I don't know, but it's a wild new world.
Right. And the thing about, the bags under the porch, the bags under the porch, at least nominally, used to be illegal. There are now no rules at all. There's no prohibition on anything. And to be clear, before anyone gets the wrong idea, I am not opposed to players getting money at all. It's not the point of this. My point of this is just people falsely taking on this security or crowing about how everything is fixed. And it is not fixed, because there is still the entire realm of private money. And this time there are no limits. There is no prohibition, nothing. It is still the Wild Wild West. So God bless you, Judge. I forgot her name, who did the house settlement. Really, really appreciate her, how she went to bat for walk-ons. But whatever, it's not fixed. In terms of the quarterback battle, my only thought is Marcus said it's a competition, and I take him at his word. He's proven to be not a liar. So I know a lot of people are saying it's really CJ Carr. Well, publicly, it is a competition, and Kenny is here. And I know that the coaching staff appreciates very much that he could have gone any number of places and started immediately, and he's still here. So I am taking this as it's still a competition, but we know about CJ, and then we know about the backflip, which brings me to something else. So me being a great big weirdo, I was on one of your shows, or I was watching back a show. Maybe it was on Patreon, and Mark with glasses put in the chat that we need a bingo card for all his Irish. So I made one. So if you DM me an email address, I'll email it to you, and you can decide if you want to use it or whatever.
I will.
I just had fun with it.
Oh, it's fun. That idea started. Jay Carr sent me a couple, and I got just a lot of meat on that bone. RKG, I got everything on here. Wine and cheese. My hairline. It's really, really fun to play Always Irish Bingo. I'm just glad to hear from you. Can I ask, do you have any Notre Dame recruiting anxiety, or is that kind of like you just let it all happen and whoever we have with, we play with? That's the big talk this summer. It's just there's nothing going on but recruiting, really. Does that get to you? Or are you like, you know what, if you want to be here, show up here when it's time and we'll play with you? Or do you let that get to you?
I let the Deuce Night thing get to me because of how public he was about all the trips he was taking and all the money of ours that he was spending. And he did do a tweet, 1,000% committed, that he then deleted, but I don't have a screenshot of it, but I remember seeing it more than once. That one hurt. But I'm kind of, I remember the Vander doesn't, drama that really kicked everything off. Even a signed LOI doesn't matter. So I don't discount anyone who gets excited, and I really appreciate people who are recruiting gurus and do all the work, and I read their work and I pay for their work. But I'm very much of the look, is it August 1st and they've moved into their dorm room or not? Because until then, anything can happen.
Yep. Yeah.
But
the Deuce thing.
I think it's a good class.
Deuce hurt. The reason Deuce hurt is it almost felt like Marcus is being so genuine and upfront and direct and open almost burned him. Like in a way, his nature of being that kind of guy kind of burned him. And like, I admit, I almost started falling for the whole like father figure relationship thing. Like, you got me buying into that for a while, and then it all blew up. It just all blew up. And so it's weird to me in an ironic type of way that maybe Marcus's personality traits that we like and admire so much almost have burned him on the recruiting trail a little bit. And maybe he needs to adjust and be a little tougher because he's been burned a little bit. So I don't know. It's tough.
We've always been burned on the recruiting trail. Always. Principally because we are one of the. I'm pretty sure we're the only school in the top 50 that still adheres to a rule and always did. If you verbal to us publicly, and then something awful happens, and just the horrible thing happens, and you can't even play anymore, let alone at the same level, your scholarship is still good. So I used to call it it's the mutual of Notre Dame insurance policy.
Yeah.
And kids and people, we got burned over and over again because kids do that. Ronald Darby, I'm looking at you. I knew you were never coming here.
Nice pull.
Nice
pull.
So my point is, you know what? I don't want to be any other way. I want Marcus to be open and honest and welcoming and have a good heart and have a good thought and expect good from people. I don't want to be yucky like that. So all y'all Deuce Knights, do what you want. You're showing yourself. The thing that also irks me is he spoke a lot about his face.
Yeah.
And how Nick, and it's like, well, honey, if you truly are Christian, you don't play people like this. Yeah. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Anyway,
you know what else? You know what bothers me too? This has always bothered me. When guys transfer, when we get to portal season and guys transfer, they always put a tweet out like it's God's will, God's direction or whatever when we're leaving. Like I feel like people lean into that to like be able to be like, well, I'm not choosing to leave. God did it. Like it's a bit, I feel like guys do it to soften the pushback a little bit. Like it wasn't my choice to leave Notre Dame. God intended it. It's like, okay. So like, I get it. It is what it is.
So, but here's the thing, and I left a comment on a short that I saw yesterday, from you, a very recent short. And I said, oh, John, we're going to talk about this. So now we're going to talk about it right this moment.
Okay.
This thing with you and cats, CATS cats, the animals.
Oh,
cats. You know that I have 2 of them.
Oh boy.
No, listen. Okay. First of all, let me preface this by saying I have said to you to your face, I love you and I love everything you do. Okay. And I'm grateful.
Uh-oh. Where's this headed? Are we breaking up? Where's this headed?
And I think you're extremely talented and a genuine, lovely person, all that.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. It is not Cat's fault as a collective nation that they are more beautiful, cooler, more elegant, and smarter than you. All right?
Oh,
it is not their fault.
Here we go.
It's just the truth. But here's the thing about cats. So here's the thing about them. They don't need to prove that to you because it's self-evident. They don't have to work at it. It's just who they are. And you just have to accept it. And if you do accept it, they are extremely loyal. They will kill for you. And they purr and they're furry and they're yummy and they're warm and there's all these other benefits. But you just have to acknowledge their primacy at the very top of the pyramid. So, but let me bring this back around to Notre Dame. So the thing, so cats, because they do understand the language of the humans that they own. So my cats understand English. They know when they're disrespected, but again, they don't have to prove it to you. They're just sort of befuddled, like, I'm sorry, stupid human, that you don't understand that I'm a god, but that's your failing. I'm just over here taking a sun bath, and you should have my dinner on the table at the appointed minute.
Yeah. You've
So,
done a really good job. You've done a really good job. And I would like to,
wait, I have a punchline. I have a punchline.
Oh no.
I have a punchline. Okay. I'm bringing this back to Notre Dame. It's very much how we have to be as Notre Dame people. Everybody hates us all the time, and they're constantly criticizing us, and they're constantly calling us names, and they persist in these false stories about us, and making up facts like, everybody here has to convert to Catholicism and all that stupid stuff. And they hate us, and they scheme against us, and they have meetings about how to kill us. And I know they talk about trying to group boycott us all the time, which, P.S., I would lead that antitrust case any day of the week. And we're just here like, what? Like, can't we just play football? And we're sorry that we're the coolest. We're sorry we basically started college football because you kicked us out of all your leagues and we had to travel. We're sorry that we beat everybody for 30 years. We're sorry that we have our own TV contract. We worked for it. We're also very nice. We're also very nice people. We feed you at tailgates. We welcome you to our beautiful campus, and we love when you enjoy our camp. We're nice people. And so, yeah, we're the coolest. We're the baddest. We're the prettiest. We're the everythingest.
Oh,
but we don't rub it in your face.
One of the chats says this all sounds exactly like something a cat would say.
Well, exactly. But here's the other thing, John. Here's the other thing. And this is what the world learned last football season. All right. Look, you have social issues. You are fixated on us, and you're trying to kill us. Okay, well, now we're mad.
Yeah.
And now we're going to crush you. And that's like cats, right? You get in their space, you don't respect them, you try to discipline them. Bad idea, whatever. Okay, now it's on, human, and you're dead.
Man,
you're dead.
Okay. So, can I get a little flexibility for being deathly allergic? Because I feel like that's a part of informing my opinion of like bad childhood experiences of not being able to breathe. Like so there is some of this that is involved with that, but some of it is definitely a social experiment as well. And that short, there's a second part to it that I didn't even get to. You'll probably have to call me back on. I didn't even post that one yet. It goes deeper than that, and you probably won't like the next one, but stay tuned. Because it isn't just that one. Well, there's one that goes even another level.
Being allergic is a thing, and pretty much the science I'm aware of is basically like if you're not around cats regularly, by the time you're like 5 years old or 6 years old, you're kind of screwed. To me, that's a tragedy. I am so glad that my mom is an animal person and we had cats and dogs and they're always around. So here's the thing that I don't appreciate is people who lie and say that they're allergic just because they don't like cats because they refuse to understand cats. But you aren't lying. I'm not saying you lie.
Yeah.
I just think it's really sad because you are 100% the kind of person who would be like, I don't like cats, and then you meet one and they crawl in your lap and watch football with you. And
I don't know about that.
And then you would love them. But you can't because you have an allergy. So allergies is a separate issue. However, it's not the cat's fault that you're allergic. Moreover, it's not an indictment of their character, and it doesn't make them any less cool, elegant, smart, or beautiful.
Okay, you made a good case. You made a really, really good case. You did. You made a good case. I think you represented Cat Nation very well. That was a good effort. We all have our quirks, and for me, the cat thing is one of them. I feel like they're always scheming, and I'm untrustworthy of. I'm untrustworthy of cats. They always look like they're up to something, and it makes me nervous.
Yeah, because they're smarter than all of us, and they own us. And there's a whole movie and a book that was written called Lion in the Living Room, the thesis of which is humans domesticated dogs and cats domesticated us.
It's man,
and it's the truth.
That's a lot of power. That's a lot of power we're giving them.
I love dogs. To be clear, I love dogs. I don't have one because my job doesn't allow that kind of time commitment, but I do. I love dogs. I love other people's dogs. I love playing with dogs. Dogs are great. But I happen to have cats, and so that's what I have.
It's a good thesis. It
Anyway,
really is. It's a good thesis.
To hate cats is like hating Notre Dame.
Oh man, look at you trying to box me in. I'll give you, you did a really good job of trying to pin me in and box me in on this. Really, really good job. I can't thank you enough for touching base. I know you got a call to get to. The tailgate's Purdue, so I don't know what your plans are for this season, but that's going to be the initial plan there for Purdue. So just letting you know in case you're looking to make a trip again.
Are they bringing the drum?
Yeah, I'm going to bring a drum and light it on fire at the tailgate. How about that?
Oh, that sounds good. Okay, yeah. Thanks so much for bringing me on. Much love to everybody in the chat, and go Irish.
All right, guys. Have a good weekend, Catwoman. We'll talk to you. See ya. She did a good job trying to box me in. $5 hour. I was bored the other day and I watched the Always Irish NIU post. God, it's just, she always, I don't know. There's something about her call. She always finds a way to get something going. I appreciate it very much. And when it isn't that often, it hits better too. The way she calls sparingly, I like it. You're really glad she touched base. Trying to box me in. I was bored the other day and I watched the Always Irish Northern Illinois postgame show, and holy hell, was that chat wild. I'm glad a lot of these opinions didn't age well. I'll tell you guys the honest to God's truth, and we'll go back to the calls. When things go bad and we do one of those post-game call-in shows, it's almost like I absorb the vibe of whatever's going on, whether I mean to or not. And it's like after Northern Illinois or something like that, I literally just kind of like, sometimes I need to just shut when I'm done. I just kind of have to zone out and just let it's just like it's draining almost when it's 3 hours in a row of negativity, and every call's negative. Everything I read's negative. Like, I just kind of absorb whatever the vibe is. And there's been times where I have to just lay there and zone out and just stare at the ceiling and try and just let it go or get filtered through, whatever. Some of these are really hard, but I'm telling you, man, it's needed, and I'm happy to provide the service. But it's not like I just let this stuff come and go and then it's gone. Like I sit with it, and that I wish I didn't have to. I wish I didn't. Thanks for the donation, Donger. Sly Fox, what's going on? Let's get the main man Martinez in and out. Thanks for the donation, brother. If you're on hold, you're going to be on the air. Thanks a lot.
Hey, Johnny, how are you?
I'm good, man. Yeah, I got you. What's going on today?
Well, not much, brother. Hey, man. Yeah, you're calling your friend. I don't know. You say she's a really good call, man. Every time she comes in, it's impressive how knowledgeable she is. She really loves the school and everything, man. I've heard her since I've been listening to this also, man. Really good call. She's
very, very loyal Notre Dame person and Notre Dame grad. Very, very loyal, very tied into a lot of things. I appreciate her.
That's awesome. Hey, just real quick, it's funny, when I was 15, 16, I got interviewed by ESPN for this segment called Outside the Lines. Very first time, it was called Gangs in Sports. And you might see, if you ever see it, Anthony Gold-Renee was a trader, but I had a Penn State hat on because I liked Curtis Stevens, the running back. I was playing running back. I liked how good he ran. So it's kind of like in support of him. Plus, I liked the colors. At that time, I was kind of, living that life. But the person that interviewed me was Marianne Grabavoy. And she was part of the first ever women's graduating class of the University of Notre Dame, man.
Interesting.
That's pretty awesome, huh?
Yeah, there's some history.
Yeah. Yeah, right. But no, Johnny, just to touch on your subject, man. I think what Marcus has to do is just continue what he's been doing, man. Win the big games, not lose the small ones. Put in years of winning, getting to the playoffs or being right there. You know what I mean? For years we were always ranked top 10, like we say, and people said we should have no business there. So my opinion is Marcus has to keep doing what he did last year, you know what I mean? Put them together, put seasons like that back to back, and if not win the national title, at least be in there with it year in, year out, man. Like you, in my lifetime, I like to be old enough to remember a national title, buddy, but you know what I mean? As far as right now, I think we're always trending in the right direction. As far as the recruits, Johnny, it sucks to get burned. It does. But you know, and I say it over and over. If you have the coaches there to coach them up, because like Stinger said it to you in one of your shorts, other programs go through this all over the country. It's just that we're in our Notre Dame bubble, which is the truth. You know what I mean? And as far as the recruits, you know, I think whatever ones we do end up getting, we got to coach them up. Now we can land those 5 stars even better because, you know, those are just natural freaks. But I don't know what Bryce Young was coming in at, you know, at 3 or 4, I think. I try not to follow him because a lot of those are just people's opinions, but sometimes they end up being true. I don't know what Bryce Young was, but I don't know. I don't think he was a 5-star, right? And he had an amazing freshman season.
Yep. You're right about that. And that is one thing nobody wants to hear. When you're frustrated with recruiting or you miss out on a top prospect, and then you bring up the fact that they do a good job of developing and identifying lower ranked guys that play better when they get to Notre Dame and all that. People don't want to hear that, though, because it just sounds like an excuse. But there is some truth to the fact that in the Freeman regime, they identify some lower rated targets that play well. And Freeman's been able to get the group to play better than it looks like they should on paper in some big moments. That's been missing until he came along too. But nobody wants to hear that when you miss a recruit. It just sounds like excuses, and I understand that.
No, and that's very true, Johnny. And one last thing about the CJ Carr thing and Kenny mentioning. When I was coaching up at Collingwood, right, and Scott K, he was a millionaire. He was our offensive coordinator. I played for the University of Utah. He had played big-time football in California. But he says, you know, you get the 6'3", you know, rocket arm, you know, looks the role, walks the role. And he got back there in that spread offense, and he was shivering like a beezy. And you get this little 5'10", you know, kid, kind of little thuggish kid throwing sidearm baseball, and he goes, that ends up being my off-fader. He goes, the one that walks the role couldn't even get the snap off. The one that throws a sidearm, thinking he's a cock of the walk, 5'10", barely pushing 6 feet. He ends up being my all-state first team all-stater, taking me to the state title game. But the reason I say that is we don't know, man, right? We don't know. We all have assumed that it's Jay Carr, but don't count Kenny Minchie out, man. He stayed for a reason. You know what I mean? And last I checked, Jaden Daniels was kind of what the last Heisman that Ben Rock coached, I guess. Isn't that the style of quarterback he kind of, you know, coached up to the Heisman Trophy, Johnny?
Yeah, Dane Daniels.
Hello, Johnny?
Hello? I got you.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, but that's all I got to say. Hey, Johnny, man, thanks for everything. Hey, one thing, too, man. The other day, when I was talking, I was listening to the show. Sometimes I listen, I got it out of my phone. I keep it in my pocket. It accidentally pressed a notification. So don't think, you know what I mean, like, it was an accident.
Yeah. Hey, man, thanks for the donation. Hello? Thanks for giving me a call. I don't know if I'm losing you. Thanks for the donation. Thanks for the call. Have a good weekend. See you too. Later. I don't it was like he was falling slow motion down the well. What a good guy. Thanks for the donation. I really do appreciate that. I appreciate it. SPF brings up an interesting point. Where is it? Here it is. Look at this. Callers, I'm coming back to. My question is, why is everybody so sold on Carr? I didn't really see separation watching the spring game. Listen, I think it would be irresponsible for Notre Dame fans to just assume everything's going to be great with Carr automatically because you want it to before you see it. Like, that is on my SPF. I mean, it's on my list. You're watching Miami, and it's like, well, of course he's a troll. He's an LSU guy. But it's a fair point. How are you so sold if you're a Notre Dame person? Everything's going to be just fine with Carr without seeing it yet. You could think it. You could want it. You could think the odds are more likely it's going to work out and he's going to be good than he's going to be a bust. But until you see it, how are you, like, you got to see it to believe it, bro. Same thing with the Ash defense. I believe in a lot of the talent, but I got to see that it's going to be okay to believe it. Couple busted coverages against Miami, and I'm going to have an aneurysm. I'm going to have an aneurysm. So I just, we have seen it. I haven't seen it with the real bullets flying, and neither of you. What do you mean you've seen it? I haven't seen it. You've seen it against Miami and Texas A&M when the bright lights are on, not where you have a red jersey or whatever. I haven't seen that. That's different. That's totally different. So I'm just saying, I have a lot of belief that this could open up the pass game and whatever, and this could be the missing link you need to like have a dangerous pass game, maybe stretch the field a little bit, have defenses where they got to play Notre Dame straight up and they can't just crash the line on early downs and stop the run or whatever. Like, I'm hopeful, but I am wait and see. Like, you cannot get ahead of yourself on this. You cannot get ahead of yourself on this, and I got to see it to believe it. And it's a part of what I want to go over today about Freeman getting to the next level. It has to do with finding your next quarterback anchor for multiple years. We'll get into that. I'm going to get the calls, and then I'm going to go do that. Brian says, I've seen enough to form an educated opinion. That's fine. That's fine, but I'm the anxious type. I'm wound tight. I'm nervous. And you know what I would rather do, man? I'd rather worry about stuff and be pleasantly surprised than to have sky-high expectations and be disappointed with this thing. As a fan, not if I'm a coach, I'm pushing car and I need certain things. But from the fan angle, man, I'm wait and see on a lot of these things. The O-line, I'm wait and see. That defense, I'm wait and see. The wide receiver in the passing game, I'm wait and see. How the new quarterback handles the pressure, the bright lights, and the fast bullets when they're flying, I'm waiting and seeing. I'm not doubting, but I'm wait and see, bro. Wait and see. 443, you're talking to me. What's going on?
Hello?
Hello.
Oh. Hey, what's up, Johnny? How you doing today?
I'm okay, man. It's Friday the 13th, so we're feeling a little freaky here, and it's a Freaky Friday.
I know, and I was hearing Always Animal Planet to start the show.
Yeah. I knew I was going to catch heat. When I was cutting that short up, I was thinking, I know there's somebody I really like that's a cat person. I'm going to take some major shit for this at some point. I knew it.
Oh, it's all good, man. I was sitting there and I was just hearing cats, and I was like, am I on the right show?
Yeah. Hey, when it's June, you start getting animal talk, okay? like we need to that's how we need to get to August so we can start yelling about actual football again. That's some June content vortex for you.
Oh, yeah, 100%. There's not a ton to talk about, but you're just getting excited because it's getting closer every day. It's getting closer.
Yeah,
and you're wondering where the quarterback battle.
Yeah,
the quarterback battle.
Ooh, baby. Let me ask you this: have you been following the Notre Dame recruiting ups and downs? Do you think some of it's overblown because it's summer and everybody overreacts to everything? Like, or do you think we just need to kind of chill out and let things play out? Like, or do you have a little of that anxiety along the way too?
I've stopped having anxiety after the Keon Keeley, after the Deuce Knight, all the ups and downs with that.
Peyton Bowen. Yeah.
Yeah, you had all this stuff and it falls at the end. So now I'm just kind of holding myself as we don't know the class until the class signs on the dotted line.
Fair enough.
And people can flip either or way. And with NIL, it's the wild, wild west. I mean, Bowen, it wasn't even like you thought he was going to commit to Oregon initially when he did it. No one knew. His parents didn't even know. So, and then he ended up at Oklahoma anyway. So it's just like the recruiting thing, everybody gets up and down about it, and I used to too. But at this point, it's just like until they're signed, we don't know. And over the years, we've had lesser star recruits that played above their star level. So, and from what we've seen, I mean, with Leonard Moore, somebody that wasn't on the radar, Morrison was a higher recruit, but he wasn't like a 5-star. We've seen them be able to get and develop talent. And, the one thing they are is very disciplined in their assignments. So they're getting good coaching. Now with Ash as our new defensive coordinator, I don't know how well that's going to go moving forward. But, everybody gets up and down about the recruiting is, yeah, it's nice to get the big stars. But how many times, do stars not always equate to great players? Look, Keon Keeley was what, a 5-star? He's been at Alabama, what now, 2 years? We haven't even seen him play. So, like, stars, yes. Like Ohio State with Smith, yeah, there's some that translate right away, but there's some that never translate. I mean, look at James Aldridge. Wasn't he a big 5-star, the best running back?
Oh, man. Do you remember those muscles that guy had? And I remember being so excited when we got him, and it was a legit 5-star. He had the big old arm muscles on him. I still remember the James Aldridge experiment.
I mean, we had Greg Bryant that we saw look the part, but he never played, and we saw him get the carry, and we were begging him to get carries, and it's just like we've had 5-stars. I mean, Aaron Lynch came for a year and then he bolted, which kind of sucked. But you know what I'm saying? I personally just can't live and die by recruiting news anymore because it's just like we don't know what's going to happen. I mean, look at the quarterback. We got, to switch from Clemson to us. I mean, it's just like things are always changing. And with the NIL deals and things like that, it's just like you don't know until you know, until it's signed on the dotted line. You don't know if they're just using their verbal commitments as leverage, almost like a free agency in the NFL or something like that. You know what I'm saying? So I've actually started to look at it more like, it's almost, it's sad to say, it's almost like a NFL offseason or NBA, you get all these. I mean, we're getting close to the end of hockey season and NBA season, and the NFL free agency's already come. But what all the people put out there? Oh, he's committed here, he's solid here, and then here comes a little more money. So we ain't as solid as we talked about. Yeah. So it's changed the whole dynamic to the thing. And if you live and die off every piece of news like I used to, you'll lose your rabid mind. And
how do you think you end up in a basement yelling about football every day of the week? Welcome to my life's path. I was there. And listen, man, I understand. Covering recruiting is good for content. It gets a lot of clicks. It's easy clickbait. It's drama. It's immediate. There's always that rumor mill feeds clicks and views. It is just not my specialty because I will lose my ever-living mind. I will literally lose my mind if I put that amount of detail into the recruiting. I'll lose my mind, man. I can't at 40. I don't have it in me to do it like when I was 20. I just can't.
I just can't now myself because, I mean, I remember getting so amped and excited and then all ticked off and upset, and I'm just like, well, you know what? It is what it is. Is it going to affect the fact that I'm a Notre Dame fan? No. I survived Ty Willingham, Bob Davie, Charlie Weiss, and Brian Kelly, where we got to a point and that was it. And now, I mean, we won 2 bowl games. We got to keep it going. And, for the love of God, let's stop losing the games we're supposed to win. That's the biggest improvement. No more Marshalls or Northern Illinois. Show up and play and get it done because you can play. We've shown it. And now they've learned how to win against some big teams.
Yep.
So let's keep that momentum going to the future. As far as the quarterback competition, I think everyone's optimistic about CJ Carr because in the spring game, he released some on-point, accurate deep balls. And, for the last several years of talking to you, me and you have always talked about if we can get a 2-phase offense. You know what I'm saying? And even with Riley Leonard, we really didn't have it. We had a quarterback run and running back run, and we occasionally completed a pass when we needed to. Okay? And our wide receiver recruiting and everyone that complains about it is, let me be honest, I'm a Notre Dame fan, but why would I choose Notre Dame when we haven't seen a quarterback that can get him the ball? So that's a factor too, whether we like to admit it or not. If we get somebody that can come out there, sling it, and get the box empty, we know what that means. It means we're going to have a formidable offense that won't be as stoppable because they load the box and we still run the ball. So if we can get that balance, I think the sky's the limit, and we will be talking about a championship. But 1-phase offense is not going to get us there, and we all know it. And while I like Mitchie, I know why people are so gung-ho on CJ because while Mitchie looked good, I mean, he wasn't throwing the ball downfield or anything. I didn't personally see it as accurate or whatever. I'm not hating on him. He'll win the competition if he wins the competition. But we all know we need somebody that can get the ball 15 to 20 yards downfield to balance things out. And that's just the bottom line.
Yeah, if
All
you
right.
hey, I'm with you because the way I look at it is look at all the strong points of Notre Dame's program and the units that are good enough and at a level or whatever. If you can maintain your strengths and add a truly dangerous pass game with that is dangerous where they got to worry about it, man, that opens up a whole new avenue for Notre Dame and what's possible. And they're already really good. Think if you could add that and maintain the good parts you have, then Notre Dame's legitimately really well-rounded and tough to beat. But you almost got away with it last year and rode it all the way to a championship. Like, imagine if you could add that element, what it would do if you maintain the strong parts already. So that's what you're open to find in this next quarterback. And then hopefully that transitions into a better game, a passing game on the field, which would then in turn, that's got to help recruiting wide receivers if they see a quarterback that could get it to them and highlight them. That can't hurt it. So it's all kind of connected if you could add that element.
100%. 100%. And and since I joined the show as Animal Planet today, I will say I can't say that you're not a Notre Dame fan if you're not a cat thing. I don't like pets that will eat you 48 hours after you die. You ever see what happens to the cat lady?
Yeah, and you see, your dog, you be dead on the floor in the living room, and your dog could be looking for help like Lassie digging Timmy out of a well. The cat just starts picking which meal he's going to eat first.
Yeah, he's just like, which part is the tastiest?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I can't agree.
The dog's running all over the neighborhood saying he's clawing at people. Help, my owner. You got to help revive him. And the cat's just thinking, which part do I want to eat first? Good point. Good point.
So, hey, you're right to be concerned because unfortunately I live next to a cat lady. She came out. She had so many cats. It was a cover-up situation.
See what I'm talking about? Yeah, it's dangerous in them streets. I'm telling you, you got to watch out for it. You got to watch out for the cat lady. I don't know.
Yeah, you got to watch out for the cat lady because her cats that are supposed to be loyal will eat her after her time is up, unfortunately.
Yeah, the loyalty till death do us part, and then it's over, and then you're a meal.
Yep, then you're the meal, bro.
Yeah. That's funny. Hey, man, thanks a lot for the call on a Friday. Really good call. Great to hear from you again. Don't be a stranger. Call back when you can. Have a good weekend.
Yeah, be blessed, man.
Oh, thanks. Take it easy. What a nice guy, man. I got nice callers for the most part. It's kind of wild. All right, let me do a couple chats, and then we'll go right back to the calls. Got a couple more. I want to do a couple of these chats I highlighted from earlier. If I don't do them now, I'm never going to do them. Joey O'Brien on campus today. All right, listen. I'm not in these discussions. I'm not in the room. I'm not acting like I have all these secret whatever. But the people that do tell me stuff, there's a lot of negotiations going on, a lot of demands being made, and that usually doesn't portend well for Notre Dame in recruiting. So that's where my expectations at. When I start hearing there's these negotiations and we want this and we want to be promised that usually doesn't end good for Notre Dame. Now, again, I want to say allegedly. These are things I'm told. I don't know it. I don't want to start rumors. I'm just telling you that's what people that think they're in the know have told me. There's a lot of those negotiations and demands coming. Doesn't usually end well for Notre Dame in those situations. I've been down that road before. So I don't know what you guys are expecting, but that usually doesn't portend well for Notre Dame. So maybe it's not true. Maybe it'll all be fine and we'll get them. But when I start hearing there's asks about this and that, wanting to be promised this and that's tough. It doesn't end great for Notre Dame a lot of times. So I don't know. It's I don't know. And I just keep hearing rumors all the time of where he's leaning and who's the favorite all across the board. So I don't know, man. I don't know. So hope you make a good impression and whatever, man. Like, I don't know. It's interesting. Jay Carr, I wanted to get to this. Callers, I'm coming to you. John, I'm making some smoked wings today. What's your food take on wings? Yes and no. Drums or flats. Flats are superior. I'm sick of being shamed for food stuff. Like you can't put ketchup on a Chicago hot dog. Why the hell not? It's my wiener, not yours. Let me dress up my wiener however I want. I don't like being shamed for that. You're 487 pounds telling me I'm eating a Chicago hot dog wrong. Who looks like they're right and wrong? So I don't appreciate that. The whole like steak thing, like if you're a real man, you only eat your steak when the blood's coming out and you can see the muscles are still moving. If you're a real man, you know, your steak's leaking blood and then you drink it like a vampire or something. Tough guy stuff. Tough guy stuff. Same thing with wings, man. I don't, boneless, I don't care. It's just meat. It's easier for me to eat than digging on a bone like a bird who found a dead animal in the alley. So I could eat the regular wings. I have no preference. Regular wings are good. Boneless wings are good. Listen, I eat to live. Too many people in this country live to eat. I'm going to repeat that. I eat to live. I don't live to eat. That's a big mentality difference between me and a lot of this country. All right? So with the wings, doesn't matter to me, boneless or the whatever, boneless or with bone in. I don't care about the flats of the drum, whatever. And then here's the thing. This is another food shaming thing. Why do guys think they're tough and manly and cool? You go out with your guys to eat wings, and it's like you're not a real man if you're not sweating and crying at the table. Run into the bathroom to use the crapper. Like you're not a real man unless you're sweating bullets crying at the table because you got flaming hot wings. You got flames coming out your backside. What? Never understood it. That doesn't seem enjoyable to me at all. It doesn't seem fun to me at all. The only sauce I'm getting is the honey barbecue. It gives you just enough heat, but also the sweet, baby. So that's all I'm ever getting on there is the honey barbecue. Gives me a little heat, but not too much. Still the sweetness. That's what I do. And so that's where I'm at with the wings. Somebody, Nikki Dean said, oh yeah, look at this. In your dreams. You could always dip the spicy ones in ranch. Ranch is disgusting. It is. I don't understand it. I don't. No. And blue cheese. I don't even know what that means. That sounds like something went stale. I don't. No. No. John, Adam, good to see you. Let's get out on that boat, Adam. Let's record some Always Irish boat content. That's what people want to see in the summer. I'll do something stupid out there, maybe jump off your boat. That'll be good content. We're not talking enough about the A&M weirdos trying to take over Notre Dame Stadium. This is a fan base that could do it. Don't sell your tickets. Anything's better than going down there to cult land where you thought that if you went to the game, you may not come back and they'll try and convert you into the male cheerleader cult or whatever. Cat scratch fever. That's a good one. Cat scratch fever. Chief, I've never understood this. It's your time of the year, Chief. Summertime, 4th of July. This is always your time of year. Indy has like 22 total titles, and they don't claim titles from certain publications recognized by the NCAA. I never understand this. When you look up these championships that teams have listed, I don't understand. Some of them, they'll be like Alabama claimed 73 titles. Like 10 of them were acknowledged, but the other 50, they just acknowledged themselves. And then Notre Dame has a bunch of those they could go to too that are recognized or not recognized. I don't understand. This hits. I'm grateful that Freeman got us over the 30-year bowl slump, but he only gets unlimited slack if he wins a title. I think there's some good truth to that. I like that. I actually think there's some really good truth to that mentality there. Like, you bought some slack, but like, yeah, get over the hump. Yeah. Finley and Adams are must-gets this weekend. Where's the pressure on Freeman? There is no plan B. Yeah, ND9 asks a great question. It was what I was going to say, too. What happens if he doesn't get these guys? Like, I don't know. And then Andrew's like, where's the pressure on Freeman? I need the recruiting to uptick and be better. I do. Is that the pressure? Like, I don't understand. Andrew always says, where's the pressure on Freeman? Like we put it on Kelly. Where's the pressure? Like, Andrew, do you think it's a situation where since Freeman's getting some higher level big game results on the field, people are lightening up on him on the trail and you don't like that? Because I do think that's a part of it. Kelly didn't have a lot of the recruiting stuff you wanted. Andy lost every big game. 24% winning percentage against top 10 teams at Notre Dame. 40% lower than Marcus Freeman's. So, like, it's a part of it that we feel like maybe since Freeman's won some of those games, he doesn't catch as much heat on the trail, because I think there's something to that. But when it's like, where's the pressure on Freeman? It's like, yeah, I need you to recruit better. Is that the pressure? Like, I don't know what leverage we have here. I don't know what leverage we have here. SPF. I see ND splitting the first two, losing a hard-fought heartbreaker in Fayetteville. So that means that you're not even a quarter into the season and Notre Dame has 2 losses. And then I lose my mind? That's what that means. You split the first 2 and then you lose to Fayetteville. And here's another question. 11 o'clock start, SEC road game, whatever. Their win totals prediction is like 4.5 to 5.5 wins. They are not expected to be very good. So I do think it's an interesting spot on the schedule. It's an SEC road trip, but they are not expected to be very good. I looked it up. It was 4.5 to 5.5 over under win total, depending on what book you're looking at. So I don't know, man. If Freeman is actually this generational recruiter, show us you could get O'Brien. Again, I in theory, that sounds perfectly legitimate. You just don't know everything going on. It's impossible to know. It's impossible to know. And some of the stuff I've heard about, all of that makes me, I'm not getting my hopes up. I hope I'm wrong. But when I hear some of the stuff I'm hearing about it, it doesn't portend well for usually Notre Dame. I want to be wrong. Can't verify it. Wasn't there myself. So don't take what I'm just telling you the stuff I'm told. How about stop saying he's an elite recruiter if he can't land wide receivers and D tackles and loses out dramatically? I mean, I needed to be better. Let's be honest. Averaging the 11th best recruiting class is not elite. Fair. It's good, but Freeman needs top 5 classes, especially coming off title game experience. If you be realistic, if you could get 6, 7, 8, string a bunch of classes together in a row that are in the top 10, 6, 7, 8, somewhere like that, that's a big improvement. I would even take that. I mean, it's just going to be really hard for Notre Dame to crack the top 5. It's going to be really, really hard for Notre Dame to crack the top 5. It just is. Tim, what's going on? Welcome to the show.
Well, I came up quick behind the first caller.
No, I got a bunch early, and then there was a little gap, and then you're in the second wave. What's going on, Tim?
How you doing? Well, first of all, I want to pass a shout out to Dr. John. Wishing him a happy Father's Day. Appreciate the nice reference he did the other day. I don't have a tag-in name because Shoot for John's why I wanted to call you, and I caught the tail end about the recruiting. I don't want to it depresses me. I don't want to get into your little chats with all the negativity over all the recruiting and all that stuff because you don't want to bring up politics. You don't want to be negative. So I don't do that. I don't sign in. I don't do that. So I appreciate the reference from Dr. John. By the way, both guys that brought up our wide receivers, neither one of them mentioned Tim Brown. I don't know how they missed him, but thought I'd throw his name in there. I think we know who he is. But yeah. I just listened to the part you got into, and I get it. Everybody's losing their mind, but I guess we're going to lose out another recruit. Great. I know you need talent to win, John, but your show depresses me. We're not coming off a damn 4-8 season, people. Look what the man has done. They want to back Kelly. Kelly got blown out once a year. Freeman, no. Kelly took away the Catholic Mass. Freeman restored it. How many wins does Freeman have against top 25 teams? What's his record against USC? People act like this. I got infuriated when somebody said, well, Freeman's now lazy. He didn't do the closeout meeting. Are you kidding me? Look what he did the first night when he got the job where he could have just taken out his family. I'm sick of this negativity with Freeman. John, we came a great year. Look what he did. If we'd had our full healthy team, we might have won a national title. It wasn't like we were that far away.
Yeah.
What am I missing?
Yeah,
Please explain it to me.
I just think that until you get over the hump and win the championship, there's going to be room to criticize. And Tim, nobody wants to hear, well, you missed out on these elite recruits, but you identify lower guys and then develop them. That all sounds like excuse making. And even if it's true, when we go down that angle, like you missed out on these guys, but they develop really good at Notre Dame and we get the group to play better than the sum of the parts should or whatever. You get, well, now you're making excuses because you're not landing the top guys. So you're making those excuses. I just think until you win the championship, there's going to be room to criticize somewhere. And you could debate whether that's fair or not, but like until you win the championship, you didn't win the championship and there's room to improve. Is that fair to you or not? Or do we need to back off?
I mean, yeah, you need top talent. I'm not going to argue against that point because I'll sound like an idiot. But we're acting like we don't have enough talent, John. We lost, I think 3 offensive linemen who were starters who left because they weren't going to see the field as 4th and 5th year seniors. So you can't tell me we didn't develop enough talent. That's the other thing under Kelly. When we were playing Clemson in the playoffs, we lost Love. He goes down with an injury, and we got blown out because they torched our corner. By the way, weren't we missing a top defensive back who went out 5 games into the season? The talent is there. So, yeah, okay, we missed out on a couple prospects. But for the love of God, can we please see how deep this class gets and where it ends up? Because as far as I know, we have probably one of the best linebacker groups in the country, hell of a secondary. A good offensive line is only going to get better. We have a great running back room, and I know we're going, let's see what the quarterbacks, yeah, they're inexperienced, but they've got talent, and let's see what happens with the wide receiver. We have talent in the wide receiver room. I mean, I get it. I guess maybe people
I just think, Tim, until you win a championship, any little area that is like there to criticize is going to be seized on until you get over that hump. And it doesn't matter how many good things are going on. Freeman's 5-3 against the top 10, 63% win rate. Brian Kelly was 4-13 for a 24% win rate at Notre Dame. That's like a 40% increase in top 10 win percentage. That is a big, big jump. And I don't know whether it's fair or not to allow that to take some of the heat off some of the recruiting misses or not. We could debate whether that's fair or not, that if you're getting better results on the field, maybe you need to give the guy a little slack in the recruiting. But what's wrong with wanting it all? Keep doing that on the field and get those classes inside the top 10. Like, get the 6th and 7th rate classes and develop them the way you're already developing. And, like, people are always going to want more till you get it over the hump.
Agreed. But Notre Dame's also a different place. Do you want Notre Dame to sell out its values? You know, like you said, to get a girlfriend in the school. Or what else do they want? How much more money? It's a whole different world now.
Yeah.
And Notre Dame's a unique place. They're not. And here's the other thing. You know, these clowns, and it's bad. This guy, we didn't get a guy in Chicago. You know, maybe they just say, hey, we're going to just, and you know this because I think you knew somebody in a Big Ten school, we'll just hand you the degree. Notre Dame's not going to do that.
Yeah. And see, now that's tricky too. Because it's like we all want Notre Dame to have that elite talent in the elite classes, do what it takes to get those guys. Is there lines you're not willing to cross with guarantees or promises or money or whatever else? Like where do you cross the line between like starting to sacrifice some of your values to land better recruits? Are we comfortable with that? Would we even know what's going on? Like, I don't know. I don't know. It's just,
I hope not.
Yeah, I know.
I'm an old man. I hope the guy, we don't go down that road, that we start sacrificing. And they don't, because here's the other thing, and I didn't even know this, and I don't know if they still make them do it. One of the things, when you get a scholarship to Notre Dame as a book, you still have to do the application process, which means you have to write the 2 essays. I wonder if they still make the players do that. I don't know if they do or not. That could be something there. The reason they don't do that is to make sure, all right, let's see, can you get through here? Can you at least read and write? I don't know if they still make them do that, but they did back, 10, 15 years ago. I know they had to do it. So, maybe the kids just say, wow, why do I want to put that work in? And if you're not willing to do that, write 2 essays, are you really willing to go to class and do the homework? That's an insult. Ask Goolsby and those stuff. Like he was in that Japan Bowl. What the guys did after football and with their majors and what they were able to do with their careers. That's an insult to every person that's played football there. That we're able to do both. And it's insulting to me. Like I said, in my world, I was blessed. That little person down in Florida. He'll say I have a low IQ, and that's fine. But I was lucky to be born in '67. John, 5 years later, I probably don't get into Notre Dame. I think you and Pat, if you want to go to Notre Dame, would have gotten in if you were born in my area. It just depends. Notre Dame's not an easy place anymore. And I have 4 other close friends that are all highly professional. We've all said we wouldn't get in because they've had kids that all went to Notre Dame. We would not get in. And these are very highly successful people. One guy makes over $1 million a year. So come on. You guys don't know. Doesn't make us better people. It's just what Notre Dame's become.
Yeah, it is. It's, I just think, man, until you win the championship, if there's room to criticize, people are going to find it. That's just the way it's going to go, man. And Tim, to be honest, I did think Freeman would have an easier time recruiting near the top 5. I did. That needs to get better. It needs to get figured out. You can't lose those guys at the end of a class. You can't swing and miss on your musket guys as much as we do, whatever. But like, I admit, for as much as I like some of the on-field stuff and winning some of those bigger games, I did expect Freeman to have an easier time recruiting near the top 5. I genuinely did.
Well, on a positive note, and I sent you this text. The little clowns out there that were not relevant, and I'm not trying to make this political, but it is kind of interesting to me that Donald Trump went golfing over the weekend with RAD and the commissioner of the SEC to talk about the state of college football. Guess who's missing out of that little group?
Yeah, that is, I don't know if that's random. I don't know if the Big Ten guy couldn't make it. Like, I don't know what to make of that. Could be nothing, could be something. I had people telling me that tells you where the power's at. I have no idea. I don't know what to make of it.
I think, honestly, I thought about it. I said, you know what? And I thought about it. He and Trump's paths probably crossed because Trump's a big golf guy. And look what Bavacco ran for NBC, what he was the head of. So that's maybe with a pass cross. I don't know. But when people start saying we're irrelevant, really, how many games, if you look at and tracked it over the last, say, 12 years, are not tied to, you don't need cable? Most of them are on national TV. Besides, the one damn game that's got to go on that stupid Peacock.
Yeah. Hey, listen, the irrelevant argument is kind of old fodder by now. Like, I'm over debating that. Like, come on, whether you love them or hate them, they're a big deal. So Tim, I don't know. It's just, and it's the time of year. I'm convinced you're in the middle of the summer. There ain't nothing else going on. And so there's nothing else going on. So everybody's going to blow everything up. So that's it, man. I don't know.
Well,
I don't know.
One thing you want to debate, and this is the most depressing to me, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but I somehow have to root for a loss and where I can put it. And here's why I'm saying this. You're not going 16-0. It's not going to happen. There's only been one pro team that's done it. We're not going 16-0. So somehow I got to figure out how we put a loss somewhere, get that out of the way, still possibly get a first round bye, but minimally host a game. You know how depressing that sounds? That I got to somehow figure that out?
Yeah, it's Tim, it's a wild Notre Dame world we live in, and it's messing with all of our brains. And
I'm too old for this, John.
I know.
I'm too old for this.
I know, but at least you got some memories of titles that you can remember, my friend. At least you got that. Hey, Tim, relax. Watch some U.S. Open golf and just relax this weekend, okay, buddy?
That's this weekend. Right?
Yeah, it's going on now.
That's this weekend, right?
Yeah. Have a good one, Tim.
Well, I wanted to call us too. I also want to wish you a happy Father's Day. I hope you have a great day with your daughter.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. Thanks a lot, man.
Take care and God bless. I'm glad everything else in your family is going well too.
Oh, thank you.
Continue to pray.
Oh, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Tim. I don't know, man. And Andrew, I get everything you're saying. I don't know what you want me to say. I need the recruiting to be better. Is that good enough? I need the recruiting to be better. I genuinely thought that Freeman would have an easier time getting near the top 5 than it's proven to be. And that's very frustrating. So, but like, I don't know what else accountability you want. I need and want the recruiting to be better. Is that it? Like, I don't know what else you want me to say. If he doesn't land top 5 classes, fire him even though he's winning these big games. Like, I don't know what. I guess I don't know what accountability looks like in your mind, Andrew. The recruiting has not been elite, and it hasn't been as good as I want it, and I want it to be better. And I'm frustrated with some of the dynamics. I don't know. I don't know what else to say. I don't know what else accountability looks like. I'm not saying Freeman walks on water. The recruiting hasn't been as good as I wanted it to be and thought it would be. But it is different than a Kelly situation because you don't just have the recruiting isn't where we want it and I lose all the big games. You have the recruiting isn't where I want it and you're winning a lot of big games. There is a difference there. And I don't know if you're not looking at it that way. And that's why you get frustrated with the double standard you see. Some people could argue it's not a double standard. One of them didn't have a lot of elite recruiting and had a 23.5 winning percentage against top 10 teams. And the other one's 40% higher on the win percentage. Maybe that's buying him a little flexibility that Freeman didn't earn or Kelly didn't earn because he didn't win the big games. I don't know. Chicago's very own. What's going on?
Hey, Johnny boy. This is a good convo. I got in late because, I just want to add a little perspective. So all the negativity and all the arguing and this, are we getting recruits? And then I've been, since 6 o'clock this morning, I've been flipping back and forth between Fox Business News and CNBC, all the geopolitical crap that's going on, all the strife in the country, the riots and the bullshit. And we're beefing about Notre Dame football. Come on. We are on an uptick, my friends. And I think that
hold on. No. Time out, Tom. Time out. Andrew, you are not listening to what I'm saying. You're taking everything and manipulating it to fit your argumentation style and angle on this. There it is. As long as Freeman's doing better than Kelly, I guess we're good. You are actively going out of your way to ignore that I just said in plain English, the recruiting isn't good enough and I want it to be better. But for you to act like you don't understand that if you're winning big games, you're going to have more flexibility with everything else, you don't live in the real world. You don't live in the real world. I just said the recruiting isn't good enough. I want it to be better. But if you are telling me you honestly can't understand why Freeman gets a little more slack when he's winning big games at higher clip, that's what's going on, I think. I want it to be better. I need it to be better. I never said it's good enough. Just finish number 13 in recruiting. I want it to be better. I need it to be better. But you're manipulating, you're pulling every string of thread that leads down your argumentation aisle and ignoring everything else. You're trying too hard on this one. You are trying too hard on this one, and you're hearing only the parts that you want to hear to fit your argumentation. There it is. As long as Freeman's, it needs to be better. But I'm giving you a reason of why there's probably a little slack because he's winning those big games at a higher clip, and that buys you more flexibility. That's just the reality. You don't have to like it. You could hate it. You could say it's weak-minded, whatever. I already said I'm frustrated and it isn't where I want it to be. But when you ask for accountability on Freeman, I don't know what you want. If you don't recruit in the top 5, you're fired, and it doesn't matter how many big games you win. I don't know what you want. He doesn't walk on water. The recruiting needs to get better. I don't know what else to say. Go ahead.
Wow. John, I agree. Here, look, I don't understand why that straw has to stir the drink that badly. Consider, and I like Andrew. He's a smart dude. He knows the X's and O's of football. But why do we keep beating this dead horse? I mean, yeah, he's 0-3 against Ohio State. All right. Did we have a complete team? No, we didn't.
Oh, you're making excuses.
We don't have.
You're making excuses, Tom. Nobody's healthy. Like, you're making excuses. Nobody's healthy, and you got to find a way to win anyways and be perfect in all areas of your program or you stop.
You know what?
Or no, you
I
do.
know.
You're making excuses. Nobody cares that you had 80 guys injured. Like, I get it. It is excuses, but it's also reasons. But nobody wants to hear it.
I know. But the upside potential of what's happening, and there are also those kids that are going to come to Notre Dame in the next 2 years, they might not be the 5-star everybody wants right now, but they're going to find some players. I mean, just look what they've got talent-wise right now. I understand where the gaps are. I understand we've got to get receivers. I understand we've got to get defensive linemen. They're coming. Just, God almighty, take a break, guys. I just don't understand that either. I mean, you know, I was, and like I said to Jay Grizz in the chat earlier, I was Marcus Freeman's biggest detractor. Boy, did he make me eat my words, and I'm glad he did. I'm glad he got it figured out. You know, I mean, to be in that job and to have some perspective to see where he started and where he is now, I never thought he'd get to this point. I never thought he'd get to the point that we were playing for a national championship in his 3rd year. So you know what? I'll sign up for that all day long. If there's more of that coming down the pipeline, I think these kids love to play for him, no matter who they are. Choose hard, my friends. I like that saying he comes up. Choose hard. Listen, I got to go, guys. God bless. Go Irish. Stay positive.
Love you, Tom. Take it easy, buddy. I'll talk to you this weekend. Have a good one. Happy Father's Day.
See you later.
Yeah. Oh, I got to be honest. That felt good to get that out. I haven't had a good yell like that in a long time. That was like an in-season type yell. That one felt really good. I actually feel better, but now I feel like my blood pressure actually has gone down just letting one rip like that. I feel like I'm in a better place now. Mark with glasses, what's going on?
Well, going from Tim, Tom to my ass is like going from the Stones and Beatles to the Jonas Brothers.
That's a good line. That's a good line, by the way. Mark, I am frustrated with some of this because I understand all angles of it. Mark, I understand all angles of it. You could look at the high end of what Freeman's done on the field and buy a lot of grace in that and leeway in whatever he's doing because the on-field results have been better than what we've had in 30 years. That's all real. But also, I'm very frustrated with the recruiting. I thought he would be near the top 5 almost every year, and it wouldn't be this big of a struggle to land some of these guys. And I'm frustrated by that. But either angle you take opens up an avenue to be criticized on the other side of it. Legit, like there's angles you could take. So it's like a big you just can't win no matter where you're going to fall on it. Because there's always an argument on the other side for or against. And it's just, it's a tough place to be.
And my dad was an Andrew Gilmore, and he was worse. He was intense. He followed recruiting as much as physically possible till the day he died. If you think Andrew Gilmore has high expectations, my dad was nuts about it. Like it drove him screwy. This guy, he ate Progresso soup every day of his life. He sold his Corvette and bought it back a day later. He was getting goofy, and I'd literally blame Notre Dame football.
Oh, it'll make you lose your mind. But Mark, there's an angle for everything. It's like, well, they're able to they're not getting the 5-star guys or whatever, but they're able to identify some 3-stars and then get them to play better or whatever. And it's like, well, that sounds good. But you could also say, well, if you're able to develop those guys so good when they're there, imagine how many titles you'd win if you landed 4 or 5 stars and develop them further. There's always a next angle level to every angle of this, and it's enough to drive you insane on a Friday in June.
Yeah. I can't do it, but having high expectations is good, but you got to have perspective with it. And I've said it before. I sleep better at night knowing that there's people out there worrying about this shit, but I can't do it. And Freeman gets the benefit of the doubt. He's trying to get the best players possible. If you think otherwise, I don't know what to say to you, like as far as recruiting goes. And your Patreon nailed it. Like, what do we know? We're just making assumptions and reasons of why this player does this, and there's just no way of knowing. But so I'm looking at my post-it notes now, but I don't know if you're aware of this, but the dog days of summer, my calendar says summer starts June 20th, but I think summer starts when school's out. But
me too.
Coincidentally, the state.
I don't get it. I don't understand. And then, okay,
So
Mark, no, wait.
lives.
We figured it out. The reason I'm all messed up is because the seasons change in my mind with the football calendar. So when you're out of school in like late May, it's summer. And then as soon as football starts, it's fall, even though I think summer runs to what, like October? So, or whatever. Like, I think my mind goes by the football season calendar. That's what it is. I'm all twisted around because my whole life revolves around the football calendar.
Yeah, and so officially, I guess it's June 20th, which is coincidentally when O'Brien announces, which is a week from today. And I don't know if you saw his dad's quote. He was kind of hinting that about the NIL, unfortunately, might come down to something like that. And I'm wondering, do you think that might be a hint to Notre Dame, or he's kind of implying something right before the visit this weekend?
All I know is a few people that reached out to me brought up negotiations and wanting some things promised or guaranteed that I'm not sure Notre Dame's willing to do. And I don't know what to make of that. But whenever those things have come out before, it usually doesn't end well for Notre Dame. But I've heard that there's just been maybe some requests or demands for some promises that I'm not sure Notre Dame's willing to make. And not all of it has to just do with dollars. And I don't know where that leaves us. And I'm also going to say this again. I can't verify that what I was told is true. I wasn't there. Don't take it to the bank. I'm not telling you I was in the room. These are just what I've heard. And those don't usually end well for Notre Dame. I want to be wrong. I want us to overcome it and win it and get the guy. And then I worried for nothing, but that makes me nervous when I start hearing it.
Yeah, and I completely understand like using the money for leverage. I mean, it completely makes sense. But how do they expect Freeman to guarantee, to be starter or playing time or to play both sides of the ball? And that's such a future thing to kind of put out there here and now. That seems kind of weird to want those guarantees.
Yeah,
what happened to like earning your job?
I don't know. It's a changing times, man. Changing time. And the thing is, you would figure like you could have that standard, but all it takes is one taker, right? You know what I mean? All it takes is one group that is willing to do all that. And then it justifies you having that position, right? Like all you need is one taker to agree to all that stuff to get, and then you prove that it worked. You know what I mean? So I don't know. It's so frustrating. I would lose my mind. I could never be a coach recruiting in this dynamic. I would absolutely lose it. I wouldn't be able to handle it.
Yeah, I guess it doesn't hurt for them to ask, and they might as well know that they're being so. But yeah, I just saw their blue chip ratio was I think third or fourth highest, and so like Tom said, like the momentum, you want to call it a work in progress, improvements, like all of that's like undeniable, and I think like maybe following this weekend. I know, like O'Brien, Finley, and Robinson are going to be there, and Fitzgerald. So, who knows? Like, maybe we'll get good news. Like, remember that being a thing? Good news.
Yeah, I do remember that. I do, but like, Mark, I want to be totally honest. I am so jaded beyond like, oh my God, the grill and chill. Like, this is going to yield a bunch of 5 stars for Notre Dame. I am so jaded beyond like the grill and chill. I'm on the edge of my seat. Like there's so many games being played here, man. Like, let me know if somebody commits and then let me know when they sign.
Exactly. And real quick on Notre Dame basketball, I know barely anybody gives a shit, but they had top 10 recruiting class, and this team the last 2 years has completely sucked, been unwatchable. Now I'm seeing blue and gold writing now saying 500 record next year is realistic. And
Well, I'll get the parade. I'll get the parade lined up then. If you go 500, I guess.
You know, this coach Shrewsbury is a career below 500 coach. How long does this rebuild take? You know, like year 4, we're going to be above 500, and I don't understand the expectations with Notre Dame basketball. I grew up going to games. You couldn't have paid me to go watch that team last year. They sucked, and you know, it's disgusting. They're not even competitive. So next year, with this talent that they got, you know, they got to do something. And you know, football's all I got. The Browns suck. They're clueless. I know all your teams suck too, so you know what I'm talking about.
I have nothing. I have nothing in my life, Mark. I only care about Notre Dame football and the White Sox. Those are the only 2 teams that move my needle emotionally in any way, and one of them is totally dead to me. So I am stuck in Notre Dame land 100% for all my sports. There's nothing else that moves the needle for me. The Bears, it doesn't hit me, whatever. It's just that stupid baseball team and this football. No wonder my hair's falling out.
Yeah. And also want to say the Patreon chat has been a cool addition to mix it up over there between shows and eventually games, and I'm sure it'll keep growing, and that's been really fun over there. So if anybody hasn't checked it out, it's pretty cool over there. You don't get the clown comments and stuff. It's more of the direct stuff, and almost basically like a group chat, and that's been pretty cool.
Yeah, it's been a nice addition. And what I like is it's popping and it's June. Just wait till we have game day threads and everything going on in the season. And so really good addition. Another way for us all to connect. And I like the one with the ticket exchange, tailgate, you know, parking pass exchange, like Airbnb recommendations. That's going to be helpful too, because a lot of people ask me, I'm coming to Notre Dame, what do you recommend I do or whatever? This will be a good way for everybody to help the whole community. And I'm excited about that when we get closer to this season.
Oh, yeah. There's a ton of us who still don't even have our tickets to the Purdue game yet. So that's definitely going to be come in handy. So, but yeah, that's all I got. Recruiting will be fine. Maybe we'll get some good news.
It's just like you're the casual nature with which you're just like, recruiting will be fine. Maybe we'll get some good news. Even that's giving me some anxiety.
Yeah, we need it. I mean, any more bad news, your show might have to go on a hiatus.
Oh man, I just it comes with the time of year. I'm telling you, it's just we need to get into August. Mark, I really appreciate it, buddy. I'll talk to you over the weekend, and I'm going to work on some of the little things you sent me too to get some of those up. Thanks a lot.
All right, happy Father's Day, everybody.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, happy Father's Day to all of our Notre Dame fathers that made us lunatics. Last call of the day going to be. I keep ending up with stuff to do, you guys. So I'm trying to cut at 7:30 or 10:30. 773. We got a few other callers, but all of them have been on either this week or recently. I'm going to give the last one to a guy that hasn't been here since looks like October. 773. What's going on?
Hey, what's going on, John? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you.
All right. I think the reason why people are frustrated with you look at Notre Dame, they go to the national championship game. Normally, you feel, hey, that's great. They went to that. Let's go from there. Let's build from there. It's only going to get better. But I think if you look at the big picture, and this includes the recruiting, I think people are always going to feel unsatisfied with where Notre Dame's at because you really don't know where they're at. And I'll give you an example. After they lost to Northern, what happens if they played in the Big Ten and they had to go on the road to Ohio State? They probably lose that game. So you don't know, the schedule with Notre Dame is great. They're 11-1, they're in the playoffs, they're ready to rock and roll, and then they play Ohio State in the national championship game, and it's a letdown. I think people realize, whether they know it or not, that if they were in the SEC or the Big Ten, that what would have happened after Northern Illinois if they had to play Ohio State, Penn State, Oregon, Washington? Would they have made the playoffs, John?
Yeah, it would be tough. Be tough.
And that's the problem right there is you really don't know at the end of the year. Notre Dame could be 12-0, and you're like, great, they get a bye, whatever they're going to get. But you really don't know. Even after this season, people are still. Why is there so much frustration? Because people don't know. You really don't know where Notre Dame's at. You look at the recruiting, and you say, how can they be in the national championship game and be ranked 13th in recruiting? This is ridiculous. Everyone else goes to the national championship game. Georgia, Alabama, whoever. They're always 1, 2, or 3. Ohio State. They're 1, 2, or 3. 1, 2, or 3 every year. 1, 2, or 3. Why is it Notre Dame gets there? Why aren't they in that mix of 1, 2, or 3? 1, 2, or 3 every year? Because they don't know really where Notre Dame sits, and I think that bounces over to recruiting. I think with the recruits, they look at the Notre Dame situation, and they're not sure what Notre Dame is.
Interesting.
You know, if they were in the Big Ten or the SEC, say they're in the Big Ten and they went 12-0, went to the Big Ten championship game, won that, got a bye. You know, going into this thing, we're going to be favored to win it all. Before the first playoff game, we're 13-0. We won the Big Ten. We beat Ohio State, Michigan, Oregon, blah, 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 blah. You feel a lot better about that playoff situation because you're like, look, we're the best team in the Big Ten. And now it just comes down to, can we beat the best team in the SEC? That basically will be the national championship game. But because Notre Dame's not in a conference, you look at their situation, you go into the playoffs, you're still questioning at 11-1. You're still asking yourself, do you think they'll get a bye? Should they get a bye? No, they're going to have to play in the first. I mean, I know they automatically do, and that's the other situation. They don't automatically get a bye, but you go into the playoffs, still don't know. I don't know. They beat Wake, they beat Duke, they played Georgia Tech, they beat Syracuse, they beat Army, they beat Navy. You don't know. They lost to Northern. You don't know what Notre Dame is, and that carries through the season. And then you start feeling good about them in the playoffs. You're like, all right, 3-0. You know what? They're pretty good. They got a pretty good football team. Then they play Ohio State, and they get shellacked. And then it goes back to, all right, so if they were in the Big Ten, would they have even made the playoffs? And I think that's the frustration with this, is when people look at Notre Dame. Like this year, they'll probably go 11-1. They'll get in the playoffs, but when you look back at their season, you're like, all right, so they lost to let's say they lost to A&M or Miami. They're 11-1. Then you're looking at that loss to Texas A&M, who's not in the playoff. Now you start feeling like, geez, are they going to do any good in the play? They lost to A&M, and they're not in the playoffs. Or they lost to Miami, and they're not in the playoffs. So you're not sure exactly where they're at. But if they were in the Big Ten, and whoever wins the Big Ten or the SEC and they win it all, you know that they're going to be favored to go to the national championship game. And that's why people don't feel satisfied like they do when Alabama gets there, or Georgia gets there, or Ohio State gets there. Ohio State fans feel like we deserve to be there and we deserve to win it all because they ran the table all the way through their conference. And I think with the recruiting, that just shows you, was Notre Dame, were they really a national championship team? Let's look at the recruiting. They're ranked 11th or 13th, or wherever they're ranked. Now you start feeling like, how come the kids don't recognize this? There's no other team that goes to the national championship game and is 13th in recruiting. No other team. That wouldn't happen to any other team, but it does Notre Dame.
That's interesting. So you think maybe they're such an outlier that you're out of that lane of like easily knowing where you stack up and everything, that it messes with the equation?
Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying, is you don't get a real feel. Like during the season, when you watch Ohio State or Georgia or whoever, Alabama, if it was like the old Nick Saban Alabama, you know as the season's going along, you know by week 6 or 7, you know what, we can win this whole thing. Or Michigan or Ohio State, well, we can win this whole thing. You know where they're at because you're like, you know what? They're going to go to the Big Ten championship or the SEC championship. They win it all. And then you can look to Vegas and you're like, favored to win it all. Or they won't be favored. They'll get in. They'll get either the SEC champion or the Big Ten champion. They'll get in, and you start getting a feel like, I wonder if what do you think Ohio State will be? I don't know. I think Georgia will be a 2-point favorite. Yeah, that's what, 2 or 3 point favorite. Well, you start to get a real feel of where they're at. And then, of course, the recruiting comes on top of it. Well, where are they at recruiting right now? Georgia's 1, Ohio State's 2. Yeah, that's what I figure. I think Ohio State will probably catch it well. They got some pretty good guys coming in next week. You know what I mean? You can get a feel of who they really are. Well, with Notre Dame, they're playing in the ACC. You just, okay, they're 11-1, but who are they? Who are they? Okay, they beat Georgia Tech, they beat Duke, they beat Wake Forest, you just still don't know. Their 11-1 record isn't like an 11-1 record in the SEC or an 11-1 record in the Big Ten, where you know, like, hey, we're going to be a top 2 or 3 recruiting class. We're going to be in the national championship game. You just don't get that same feeling with Notre Dame when they're 11-1 going into the playoffs. And then you look at the recruiting and you're like, how can you be 13th? Explain how you can be 13th when you're in the national championship game. And I think that all plays a big part in this whole thing. It's the chicken or the egg again. Is the recruiting not 1, 2, or 3 because kids look at it and go, yeah, but you're not in the SEC or you're not in the Big Ten. So I don't know, is Notre Dame a national championship? Are they there right now? Or are they there because they played Wake Forest, Duke, Georgia Tech, Syracuse, Virginia? You don't know. And if you go back to the Northern game, they lose to Northern. And what happens to their season if it's
okay?
Now
But wait,
get into
all right, but wait, but didn't you earn some credibility if there was question by beating Georgia, the SEC champion, by coming back against Penn State, like taking care of upstart Indiana? Like, didn't any of those questions, once you are in the playoff and you show you could beat the SEC champion, is there no credibility gain from that or what?
Well, now that depends on the person. The person, depending on how much you know about football, a person just sees the score and says, whoa, Notre Dame beat Georgia. Wow, they're legit. I don't care if they played all ACC teams. They came back and beat Georgia. They're legit. And then you got the back end of a guy who knows football sitting next to him who says, yeah, but the starter didn't play. The quarterback was out that game.
Pat, is that ridiculous, Pat, that I'm asking that if you beat, I don't understand what you got to do to get any credibility, man. Like you beat the SEC champion and that isn't good enough. You come back against Penn State after a bad start. Like, what do you got to do here? I don't know. It's a complicated equation. It's a very, very complicated equation.
Well, that's my point. It is complicated because now you have these factors in there. You're right. Normally, you beat Georgia. Let's say you go back. The same with Alabama. Say you go back 2 or 3 or 4 years ago and you beat Georgia or Alabama. You're getting all the credit in the world. You beat Georgia 3 years ago, or like Alabama lost 4 games this year. That hasn't happened in 20 years. You beat Alabama. Vanderbilt beat Alabama last year. So now you beat Alabama or Georgia. Everybody knows they're down. They're not. The SEC's down. They're not very good. Look at Tennessee. Tennessee was like, well, Tennessee might be the best team in the SEC, and then Ohio State slacked them by 4 touchdowns. So what was the SEC this year? Everybody knows the SEC was down. So people are looking at Alabama and Georgia now, and there's question marks like, well, do you give them the same credit if teams beat Alabama next year? Do you really give them the same credit as if Nick Saban was coaching them 4 years ago? Of course not. Yeah. They lost 4 teams like this. And I think that's whether it's fair or not, and I'm not saying one side or another, saying like, Georgia's starting. I mean, that's not the role I'm playing here. What I'm saying is, I think people are looking at things differently. If they were in the Big Ten and beat Oregon, Penn State, they did beat Penn State. To me, Penn State was the best way because I thought Penn State was the best football team they played, other than Ohio State. Now, say they were in the Big Ten and they beat Penn State, Ohio State, Michigan, Oregon, and then they did what they did in the playoffs to the national championship game, then you could say, you know what, they probably should have won the whole thing. I don't know how they lost. I mean, they beat Oregon, they beat, then the whole conversation's different. Like, how did Notre Dame blow it? They beat Oregon, they beat Michigan, they beat Penn State, you see what I'm saying? It's a whole different conversation.
Yeah, I get it.
But because, you see where I'm going with this? It's when they join, if they join the Big Ten or when they join the Big Ten and they run the table and win the whole thing, you'll see everyone in the country's attitude will turn. Everybody in the country will feel like, keep an eye on Notre Dame. They're 12-0. They just beat Ohio State for the Big Ten championship. Keep your eye on them. They're going to get to the national championship game, and I got them favored against, let's say, whoever's in it, Georgia, or let's say it's the old Georgia or the old Alabama. You run the Big Ten, we beat Ohio State in the Big Ten championship game. Now, all of a sudden, even if it's the old Alabama, Nick Saban Alabama, now you're looking at Notre Dame like, and this could be a 1 or 2 point game. This could be a great game. And whether they win or lose, they deserve to be there. No matter what happens in that game, you see what I'm saying? Because they beat everybody in the Big Ten. They won the championship game. And whether they beat the SEC champion or they don't, people will say, you know what? Win or lose, Notre Dame deserved to be there, and they probably should have won.
Yeah, I get the angle you're going with here. So just go win the championship, and then we'll deal with whatever. Yeah, we'll just deal with whatever questions come from there. Hey, man, I appreciate you touching base. It's been like October, so thank you. Don't be a stranger. Give me a call again from 773 land.
All right, buddy, take care.
Have a good one. Yeah, it's been a while. I had somebody ask where that guy was actually not that long ago. $20 for the Pilney. When Indy's a title threat, the hater meter goes up. There's no doubt about that. And when you're not a title threat, the hater meter goes up from our own fan base. I think we're all losing our minds. I think John needs a vacation. I think I'm going to go to Adam Dowling's. I'm going to jump on that boat, and we're going to bump some old school hip hop tunes, and we're going to drink ourselves alcoholic beverages somewhere. That's what I think we need to do. That's what I think we need to do. I'm losing my freaking mind. Thanks for the calls. Thanks for the chats. Thanks for the donations. Andrew Gilmore, even though I yelled, I still love you. Have a good weekend. Happy Father's Day. God, this is quite the journey we're on. Happy Father's Day, everybody. See ya.